Babe, how has your week been?
It has been a good week, actually. More quiet, I suppose. We haven't had Carlo in the office, so it started on Monday with some. We got our first ministry opportunity, the two of us together. We were invited to that couples in ministry meeting. The Church of the Nazarene has like a monthly meeting. Am I right?
Yeah, every month the pastors and their wives get together to encourage one another, to build unity, and just to be encouraged in working in ministry as couples.
Now, I thought that was quite a unique situation, or at least what I mean unique is that I have not come across that before, where a denomination has for all their pastors and their pastors' wives have these kind of meetings together.
Yeah, regular every month.
Yeah, and I have never seen that before. So this was something I thought was really an excellent idea. And I think specifically in this culture, there's a lot of struggles. Oftentimes the pastor is kind of takes the lead with whatever he's doing, and the family just try and pull together. But they fall apart in many ways. The wife is left with a lot of tasks. She doesn't necessarily feel that she's part of a team. And the husband doesn't necessarily see her as part of the team. So, and I suppose it's cultural aspects, or this was kind of some of the things that they mentioned. So it was.
What did you find? What did you find significant and helpful to you through that meeting on Monday?
Well, it was encouraging. It was encouraging to see it happening. It was a reminder that you and I are a team, and that. We need to be working together. It was a good encouragement to think about how I am working to support you, or how we are working as a team, and that I should be confident to be able to contribute within our team
ministry,
work. Yes, in our ministry.
Yeah, I found it very helpful in terms of just meeting and building relationships. With these pastors and their wives. I mean, ultimately, these are the pastors that we are training, and we're providing some theological training for. And since we've been here, this is kind of our first touch base with these pastors. Clearly, these guys love the Lord, and they love their congregations, and they want to grow, and they want to know how to do this better. And I think this meeting that they had together as pastors with their wives, I think that is a great indication of people in ministry who want to grow, not only in effectiveness but in unity. So it was a great privilege for me to be at the meeting, to bring the devotion, because we had like this devotion, and after the devotion then we had some practical discussions on what is it like to bring up your children, or what is the importance of a husband and wife working together as a team.
We couldn't weigh in too much about children because we don't have children of our own, but we were able to add some valuable experience of our own upbringing with both of our parents being in ministry, and some of the advantages and disadvantages that brings along. So I thought that was quite valuable. The kids are
playing across the road.
hey?
Yeah, they're really having a jaw. Anyway, so that was really I think a very important start to the week for us. Start I think to our ministry. Not only, 2 weeks ago I was across the river at Kalombo Village, but I think
this was our first thing together, actually.
Our first thing together, and I think also particularly meeting up with the pastors. And look, there were 4 pastors there with their wives. Obviously, travel is difficult for a lot of people, so it wasn't like it was a very big meeting. But every month we go to a different area, and then we meet with different pastors there. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's an important part of building relationships.
And they were also saying that they wanted me to come and work with. They're having a women's conference soon as well, I think in May, and they wanted me to speak at the women's conference.
You're going to exhort those women. You're going to teach them. No, they want you to contribute, and so
there's a spider. just help him somewhere.
Yeah,
else.
spider. Now looking at the spider growing, climbing, building a web here, that's one of the things that has changed a lot for me while we've been here in Zambia. I mean, back in Cape Town, spiders in my home, I wouldn't tolerate. I would kill them.
Kill them straight away.
And my rule was, you'll testify to this, Renee.
If they were in your house,
an acrophobe. I am scared of spiders.
Yeah. And if they're in your house, they die.
Yeah. For me, I thought it was at least a what's the word? How beautiful is that, by the way? Oh my word.
Beautiful. Huh?
I thought it was a mercy that I would let spiders outside my house live. But since being here in Zambia, we've joined this Facebook group called Zambian Snakes and Other Creepy Crawlies.
Yeah.
Where people post pictures mainly of snakes, but also of other insects and spiders and scorpions and things. And they
ID it and
they
then
tell you what it is and whether it's poisonous or not.
And then also give you an idea of where it fits into the ecosystem, in a sense.
Exactly. And so just learning that spiders actually work for you in the house.
Yeah.
They're catching cockroaches, then killing even scorpions, mosquitoes, other creepy crawlies that come into the house. So they're controlling the ecosystem.
And we've seen those spiders in our kitchen actually eating
yes, those wall
cockroaches.
spiders.
Yes, they're eating the cockroaches. So we're like,
they're totally
you
harmless.
just keep doing that.
Yeah. Look, snakes, I've always never wanted to kill snakes, but always catch and relocate. But, I'm reappreciating snakes in my environment because they contribute to the ecosystem. They're not dangerous in terms of... They're not trying to attack you. Look, the adders are slow, so you need to watch out for them. If you stand on them, they're going to bite you. But they're not going to come and chase you. So if you just give them their space, they carry on with their lives. And they move out of your way. They're actually afraid of you. So I've learned that, we need to live with the environment that we have. I'm allowing spiders to live, and believe it or not, I'm allowing scorpions to live. Even the scorpions that stung me last year. And they're still in our house and they're still around. What are you seeing, a bird there, love?
Yeah, I'm seeing a bird. I think that's what the kingfishers.
Yeah, look, the
brown-hooded kingfishers.
The ecosystem, the wildlife, or the birds and the snakes and the spiders and everything living. It's just amazing to live in this environment and let things live and to learn to live with them.
Yeah.
So anyway, that spider just reminded me of countless spiders we've seen in our house, and we've let them live.
It's been great learning, about the nature around us as well, and seeing the birds and all that. So that's been a great thing.
Anyway, so we were talking about our ministry. Why don't we talk about today? I mean, today was a super cool day. It was a brilliant day. Today is Resurrection Sunday. Where were we today, babe?
I think it's Kalombo.
Kalombo, yeah.
Kalombo is a little town or village. I don't know. It's not.
It's a village.
Area.
Yeah, it's a village. Yeah.
Just about, I'd say, 20 minutes out of Chavuma.
Yeah.
So it's out of the Chavuma central town.
And it's on the east bank.
Yeah. So we went there. You were going to preach there for Easter, or you did preach there for Easter Sunday. But we were kind of taken by surprise because when we got there, they were doing a baptism. And they'd had a whole weekend Easter conference thing.
Yes.
So they've been there since Friday, and they're leaving only tomorrow at like 8 or something like that.
So that church service is actually still going on now while we're sitting here.
We escaped. Well, we got out of there. So
just before 2,
yeah, just before 2.
You weren't feeling so well, weren't you?
I wasn't feeling too well.
I think it was that heat because it was so hot there.
But I had also earlier this week was possibly malaria, so we just treated for malaria.
Yes, you had the malaria symptoms.
Yeah, so I wasn't feeling great. So
you've taken malaria medication.
But sorted it out, hey? That medication is quick. But anyway, let's get back to today's ministry.
Yes, the baptism. That was pretty cool. So we started inside the church, and there was some singing and some worship going on, which is always beautiful. I love their singing. Their voices are so beautiful.
They really have nice voices.
Yeah. And then after a bit, we all went out of the church and we walked down to a nearby stream. We walked down the road, everyone's singing as we were walking down.
In the middle of this.
In the middle of the road, yeah. Now this is like an Easter convention, so there are 5 churches that have gathered together.
Yeah.
The churches of the Nazarene, or the Church of the Nazarene denomination. There are 5 different churches
In this area.
in the area gathered together. And so, wow, there was probably about 200 people, if I'm estimating correctly.
Yeah.
All walking down the road, excitedly down to the little river. And there, some young people were baptized. Probably what, about 15?
I didn't count, but I mean they were quite young actually, and I'm guessing it's people who've come to know the Lord in this weekend. That's my.
Well, actually, they've probably come to know the Lord as I was talking to Pastor Davey. In the past couple of weeks and months. It's just that Pastor Davey being the only one who's licensed to baptize within that denomination. When he's around, and they take advantage. And of course, with him being there for the Easter conference, there's a whole bunch of people who are getting baptized today. So it was a beautiful sight to watch. It was joyous occasion.
Oh, and when we arrived there, they said, remember when we arrived in our car there, Pastor Davey asked me, do you have a head covering? And I was like, what?
Head covering,
I didn't know that I was supposed to have a head covering.
Yeah, in this church, married women need to have their heads covered.
So I had a head covering for the church service. They gave me one and I had to tie it. I had no clue how to tie these things, but anyway.
It's part of the culture here, so we fit in.
And they gave me a Luvali name.
Yeah, the Luvali name they gave to you actually was given to you when I went across to Kalombo Village on the other side of the river. They gave you the name Musoli.
Yeah.
Which is the name of a fruit, a very sweet fruit
wild
that is found. Wild fruit, yeah. And so, yes, of course, today they met you and
they used
they were using your name. You were introduced as Musoli.
Yeah.
Which was great. Yeah, so it was lovely to have the privilege to preach this morning.
You got to wear your clerical collar?
Yes, I did. I did wear that. So it was a big blessing. We thank God for that.
But it was hot, hey? Because you couldn't really get air in that place. It's a small church, so they moved us all out of the church building.
When we came back from the baptism.
Yes.
Everyone tried to get back into the building, but it was just too hot.
And the heat actually made me feel like I was going to pass out. It was too hot. And then, fortunately, they realized also that the building was too small for everybody, so they moved outside.
The problem is everyone is coming from the church. It's very hot and the church is small. Too much hot.
Too much musana.
Okay.
Too much musana.
And there's more space outside, huh?
So more space outside. So that's why now we are trying to arrange so that each and everyone can have comfortably receiving good air. As you know, our church is very small. Our building church is very small. So that's why now we are out from the church so that we can have it outside.
Unfortunately for some of the people, because they were sitting in the sun while the rest of us there was only a small little guava
at least
tree.
there was fresh air passing by. So
there's a small guava tree and we got to sit under that for shade, but I did get a little bit of sun today. So.
And it was a privilege to share Holy Communion with this people as well. It was really, what a privilege to do Holy Communion in the village.
We were wondering with the whole COVID thing how it will be, because they had like one cup on these little cups. How you protect yourself, but in the end,
it was they all took a little biscuit, and the cup was passed around, and they just dipped a little biscuit in the cup.
Yeah,
which is a way they have done it in some of the other villages that we've been to in our past travels. It's obviously not enough juice to pass around and drink, and it was also something important for everyone to partake at the same time. So they all held on to it until everyone had dipped their biscuit, and then of course we partook as one together, which is great. It's really a privilege.
So that was a highlight, I think, really. Today was quite a highlight, I think, of the week.
And I think talking about ministry, since we've been here, we've been doing a lot of practical work. Maintaining stuff, putting in toilets, doing electrical, fixing plumbing, sorting out our house, making sure the bugs don't get in, sorting out the office, a lot of practical things. But we've been eager also to start getting involved in ministry in some way. I mean, we've come here to do ministry. How have you felt in this week about the tension between the stuff we're doing and the stuff we want to be doing?
I realize that at this point in time, some of the ministry that we want to be getting into, like for example me with the English teaching and so on, and women ministry and those kind of things, I need to be more competent with the language, or I feel that it's necessary for me to know the language. So before we left Cape Town, I already in my mind had resolved that for the first year there would not be much in terms of the envisioned ministry, like the sharing with women or English teaching. I resolved that it was going to be about settling, learning about the people, learning about the culture, learning the language, and getting our home settled.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard for me at this point to push forward. But I do get frustrated sometimes with being stuck in the kitchen, if I can put it that way. You know, just working, because
But isn't it your place?
Hey. Preparing food and cleaning the house and doing that is like a full-time job in many ways, because especially because a lot of things take longer. It's not like you've got quick and easy and instant food that you can just throw together. You've got to prepare. Rice has to be washed and cleaned, and you know it's a bit of more of a process. And because you're dealing with gas, you have to plan ahead, because we only have a limited amount of gas, so I have to use the Wonder Bag. Thanks Van Veens, by the way, for that Wonder Bag. I have been using it spectacularly, and it saves us a lot of gas. And then, you know, just kind of like managing to remember to switch the geyser on for that hour, remembering to switch it off, managing the solar system. So it's a lot of hands-on stuff, which means that you can't really get out of the house for a long period of time, because you can't. I still want to get to a point where I can pre-plan meals and things for the week and have it all ready, so that I don't have to work so hard during the day in the kitchen and the house. You know, because I would like to be out there, getting to know people, getting to know the ministry, you know, doing ministry and things like that. But at this point, it's still a lot of just being stuck in the kitchen.
Exactly. Now, let me just say this while we talk about stuck in the kitchen. I must say that whatever meals that you've been able to put together from that kitchen and the limited resources is absolutely, you know,
magic fingers.
Spectacular. Great flavors, especially since Ichnu and Astrid brought all those spices for us. We have had some wonderful meals coming out of that kitchen. Thank you very much for what you do for us in that kitchen. I really appreciate you, my love.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you know, talking about my tension with, you know, practical work versus ministry. You know, initially I was quite frustrated that, you know, I've come here to do word ministry, and I find myself doing all this practical stuff, and a lot of the practical stuff I also felt is not even mercy ministry, because I'm not doing something practical for the people around you. It's more about doing practical stuff to maintain my own living environment, and the practical things for the mission, to keep the mission working well and the base to work properly. But then I remembered and realized that there is this two-part fold to ministry. Who's the guy who wrote that book, Trellis and the Vine? Colin Marshall. Colin Marshall, he co-authored it with someone else, The Trellis and the Vine. But there, you know, they talk about the trellis being the practical side of the work, and the vine obviously being the word-based ministry, which grows on the trellis.
Okay.
And the vine can't grow unless there is a trellis to grow on. So it's an important part of the ministry is the practical stuff. And so I've realized that this practical stuff that I'm doing, which God has gifted me to do as well, I have those skills and those gifts. It needs to be done. I just need to get the balance between the practical ministry and the word-based ministry. So, my heart is more at rest now, particularly since like this week we've been getting more involved in ministry, getting more in touch with the pastors, which is what I came here to do.
Yeah.
Building new relationships with the pastors, getting to know the group of pastors that we're going to be teaching, learning the language. These are all important parts of preparing for our ministry here.
Yeah. I'm glad that you've managed to find that peace, because I know that you were very frustrated at one point. You used to do this kind of ministry and other kind of ministries, and then went and studied theology, and you were going to go and be a pastor of a church, and now God brings us here.
To the mission
and
field,
you were
yeah.
like, why did you need to study theology to be fixing wiring or fixing
Yes.
solar systems
Yeah.
or plumbing or whatever the story might be? And you were trying to wrestle with God as to why did he put you through this in terms of theology and everything to bring you here and being stuck there. So that's really amazing that you've been able to find that reconciliation with the two parts.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it so much, because obviously your efforts is making our home more comfortable, and so that we're able to live more safely, without the snakes and the scorpions in
Coming into our
house. Yes. And for me to be able to function there, hopefully with new ceilings when we've been able to
We still
get
need to
them.
get those ceilings in, yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still
one step at a time.
frustrated about my water filter situation, but anyway, we'll get there as well eventually.
Yeah, well, your water filter has been a problem too. I mean, our water filter. Since we got here, it's got the soap taste in the water. It's obviously got mixed up with some soap in our travel.
Yeah.
And we've not been able to clean it out because it's this clay stuff, and we've tried everything. Unfortunately, that filter cannot work anymore. But we also do thank God that this week, so one of our friends in Durban blessed us with a really, really generous financial gift, which has enabled us to purchase a new filter, which is obviously much needed, because this Zambezi water here is what we pump
into our taps.
Into the taps, So we need to filter it.
Yeah, we can't drink that.
Can't drink this water without filtering it.
But fortunately for now, we've been able to use, Leslie and them have a filter as well, and we've been getting water from them. But hopefully soon we will have our own, and it just needs to be sent here with the shipping. So that might take a bit of time, but as soon as it gets here, we'll have our own water system. Well,
there goes the sun, eh?
There goes the sun, and I suppose it is time also for us to wrap this up.
It probably is time for us to wrap this up. As we do so, Renee, what is your highlight for this week?
I think today was the highlight. It was just being there, feeling like we're starting to fit in or settle into this community.
Yeah.
I loved the fact that I got a Luvali name, and it just makes me feel like we're part of this community. So
yeah, I think I must agree as well that was my highlight of the week, is this Sunday resurrection service. I mean, it's really a great celebration to be with people. And
I loved seeing you preach again, the way you used to preach in African churches. TCC, you've not seen Michael in full African flair when he's preaching like an African. Yeah. It's something to behold.
Well, I trust that God's word has done its work in their lives. I mean, that's the main point. And you know what? Talking about our highlight, the guys at Kalombo today gathered at the service when they heard that Tukai Community Church had sent us to live with them. They were very grateful, and they also want to say thank you to you guys.
Thank you, Tukai Community Church.
Cool. All right. I think that's a wrap.
Yep. Bye.
Cheers.